Hey, what's up, you guys? Trevor Rice here. I'm just going to go ahead and talk to you about how to run a MAO formula, especially when it comes to wholesale deals. This is very important. So right here, as you see, we're on the AWW board, is what I like to call it. It's my little drawing board. And the way I usually do a normal fix and flip or a normal wholesale fee, depending on what kind of an exit it is for the buyer, because it all depends on what kind of buyer it is. So I'm going to draw two different type of buyers. There's going to be three different types of buyers, but we'll get into that later. But here's two buyers. Okay. One buyer is a fix and flip buyer, and one buyer is a rental buyer. They are different. But if you get the deal at a good enough price with the MAO formula, then you should be fine for both, honestly. But it's going to be harder to sell to rental buyers if you're giving them something that needs way too much work. Does that make sense? So usually with fix and flip buyers, I'm going to go ahead and draw this out for you guys. So usually for fix and flip buyers, I like to go to 70% of ARV, or, and if you go to the glossary section at the bottom, ARV stands for after repair value. So let's say the property after we put the work in will be worth 100K ARV, and then you also need 20K in repairs. Now 20K in repairs is not too much, actually. You can get a lot done with 20K though. So let's say the ARV is $100,000 and you need $20,000 in repairs. If you run the 70% rule, the way you do that, you put in 70% of the ARV, so 70% of 100,000 is 70,000, okay? Then minus the 20,000 repairs. Go ahead and erase some of this. Oof, that's not big enough. Okay. So we have a $100,000 ARV. Then we take the $100,000 ARV, we times it by 0.7 in the calculator. It's an easier way that I do it. I don't do, minus 30%. I just do, $100,000 times 0.7 minus the repairs. So you do minus repairs off of the 70,000 that puts you at 50,000. Oops. So 50,000 minus wholesale fee. So your wholesale fee, if the wholesale fee is $10,000, then you would then have a max allowable offer of 40K. Okay, I know that was sloppy and that was very, I don't know why it's not letting me use it. That was very unorganized, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in a slideshow, super, super duper easy. The easiest way I could say is just 70% of ARV minus repairs minus wholesale fee. Okay. You can also, on top of that, like minus off any closing costs. If you're using a transactional funder, you can use that wholesale or that max allowable offer to go lower and lower as you have more cost if you ever run into them. With a rental ARV, I like to do 80% of ARV. Typically with rental properties, they don't need a lot of work. They probably need less than $15,000 in work to either get a tenant in them or they already have a tenant in them. So 80% ARV minus repairs minus wholesale fee. And that gets you to your max allowable offer for your two wholesale deals. Now, that is just a standard normal rule you can go by. I see a lot of people in the St. Louis community and in other communities that have been doing this for a long time, way longer than me, and some of them even go faster than that. Instead of doing the 70% rule, which I thought was a quick rule, some people just go straight 50% off of the ARV and just say, hey, if we're at 50% of the ARV, then we're good. I've never done it that way. I think it's too risky and it's not really that accurate and you're going to piss a lot of people off. but that's a way that I've seen people do it. I strongly recommend that you guys do the 70% ARV. I'm sure you guys have been taught that a bunch of times. Now, what makes this so much better, especially in my wholesaling course, it differentiates myself from the other guys, is that the MAO formula, 70% ARV minus repairs, doesn't have to be strict. And here's why. So when I show you how to find buyers, I like to figure out what my buyers want first before I run a MAO formula. If I say 70% ARV minus repairs, and then my buyer will go ahead and they only want 65% ARV, or if they only want 90% ARV, or 90% ARV or better, and you can make a lot of money, so you're leaving a lot of money on the table. I find out what my buyers want first, and then I reverse wholesale for them. It's almost acting like a buyer's agent in a real estate transaction. When you just say, hey, what would you like to buy? Let me go out there and find it for you. And so reverse wholesaling also helps you when it comes to finding out what your buyer wants, running those MAO formulas accordingly, dependent on what they want. I have an institutional buyer, and they go off of 16%. I'll go ahead and show you. So they go 16% of AGY, and then minus repairs, minus wholesale fee, minus an acquisition, because a lot of these big institutions have acquisition agents. So acquisition agent fee, and then minus transactional funding. So you can even do minus transactional funding, we call it TF. So that's a weird formula, and I don't expect you guys to understand that, right now, but more the advanced people that are in my course, they would understand what's going on here. But some buyers they'd have different types of buying criteria and the way that they buy. So just look out for that. That is how you run a standard MAO formula in the wholesale course. Let's get on to the next one.